welcome to Australia. Welcome to Australian Book Travels. Welcome to our book review. One of those sneaky ones that we're trying to catch up with. I don't think we're ever going to catch up, but anyway, we're trying, aren't we? I hope you're well. I hope the days and the weeks have been treating you well. I hope you've enjoyed reading. We've got a couple today that I want to discuss with you. One that I read last year. I read this quite a few years ago. It would have been many years ago. It was a few years ago. Let's not dwell on that. This is a wonderful, delightful, atmospheric and insightful book. This is The Enchanted April by Elizabeth von Arnim. Now, Elizabeth von Arnim was born in Australia. She's an Australian author. She did, however, spend a lot of time overseas, and she actually did pass away overseas. She was born in the 1860s, and I think she died in early 1940s. The Enchanted April was written or published in 1922, so it was written, or it's set in around about that time, 1920s, in London. This is a truly wonderful read. If you're going to read anything classic, read this. It's beautiful. It is based in, I beg your pardon. It starts in London. It is based in Italy. It starts in London with two women who, they don't really know each other, but they decide they're both married. And I think really what Elizabeth von Arnim was saying was that they were a little bit sort of fed up of their life and with their husbands for different reasons. So they decided to convince their husbands that they were going away themselves, just the two women, to a castle for the summer holiday in Italy. To make that work financially, they then call in or they advertise for two other women. So these four women find themselves in a castle in Italy in the summer. Elizabeth von Arnim knows how to set the scene for summer. She arouses all of those evocative sense and visuals of summer. I did feel when I read this, I felt like I was in summer. It would be a lovely summer read, this one, but really, if you're in the depths of winter and you're wanting to be brightened by summer and summer holidays, I think this is the book for you. So it can be read at any time. It's just wonderful. Now, with those four women, it wasn't just the beautiful holiday and the experiences that they have on that holiday. It's about friendship. It's about love. It's about women and their role in society at that time and their role that they play with the men in their life or for the men in their life, and the roles that those men play as well. And sometimes not just the roles that they play, but how they can manipulate, or how they did manipulate to get their own way. Not all women, just these women. And some of them were not beholden to men at all. There were a couple who weren't. So, and it was also about the dynamics when a party get together and the dynamics between those people. Look, it was a great read. I absolutely recommend it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I didn't want it to end, actually. I want to know what happens to these characters later on. You can take a guess, but I would like there to have been more. It was a wonderful book. So this, I don't like this. This is vintage. It was published by Vintage Classics, and this was published originally in 1922. Yes, it was. This is a penguin. Now, Elizabeth von Arnim did write a number of books. One of them was, this was also published by Penguin, the English Library. This is Elizabeth and Her German Garden. I didn't enjoy this as much. I enjoyed it, but I didn't enjoy it as much as this one. This is wonderful. It really is wonderful. The characters, the location, the storyline, the sub-stories, the many sub-stories. I really enjoyed it, and I love the cover. I absolutely love the cover. I love this. I've been finding now that there are quite a few books that are being published with these sort of more, they're more sort of cartoonish type, but 1930s. You know, the old adverts that they had in the 20s and the 30s, and I'm just loving them, absolutely loving them. I think they're beautiful. But look, she did write a few books. I think Vera was one of them. I haven't read that. Actually, I'll say it in here. Vera, Love, All the Dogs of My Life, Mr. Skeffington, The Solitary Summer, The Benefactress, The Adventures of Elizabeth Imogen, The Princess Priscilla's Fortnight, Christopher and Columbus, In the Mountains, quite a few. This one is definitely my favourite. This one, as I say, I enjoyed it, but not so much. Elizabeth von Arnim, although she was born in Australia, as I say, she did travel extensively, and she did have a few husbands. Surprisingly enough, just a little fun fact for you, she had an affair, a long affair, with H.G. Wells after her first husband died, I think. Yes, I think the first husband died, she had an affair with H.G. Wells, and then she divorced or separated from the second husband. So that's a fun fact that I found out and thought was interesting. Yes, recommend it. Go get it. It's brilliant. This one I enjoyed not so much. It's okay, but it's not. I wasn't as I just wasn't as taken with it. But definitely the Enchanted April, I loved it. Now, another one that I loved, that I read last year, many of you will have heard of Alexander McCall Smith, a Scottish writer. This is a standalone. Many of you will have heard of his #1 Ladies Detective Agency, Corduroy Mansions. What else has he done? 44 Scotland Street. This is a standalone, The Pavilion in the Clouds. There it is right there. Again, that beautiful cover, sort of 1930s look. Anyway, this was wonderful. It's set in 1938 in what was Ceylon, which is, of course, we now know as Sri Lanka. It is about a couple and their daughter on a tea plantation. I'm fairly sure it was tea. It was last year. Forgive me if I forget the little details. They're on a tea plantation. I love Alexander McCall Smith. I love his Corduroy Mansions, and I love the 44 Scotland Street. And I do love #1 Ladies Detective Agency. I was particularly taken also with the TV adaptation of #1 Ladies Detective Agency. I really love the actors. I thought it was so well done. But anyway, I really enjoy his writing. He's witty, and he just seems to capture the characters so well. This is completely different. It is a standalone, as I say. It's more insightful and reflective and atmospheric, more serious. And the story, look, again, this is a book that never wasted one word or one paragraph or one page or one chapter. It was brilliant. I loved it. From beginning to end. It is about a family or a couple and their daughter, precocious daughter, and they also have a mistress, like a governess, teacher for the young daughter. There is something that happens on this plantation, and the latter chapters or two chapters are dedicated to the after effects and the progression of the story much later in life. This story shows you what can happen when people misinterpret or they don't communicate well, and listening to a rather precocious daughter, precocious child, how dangerous it can be. I was really taken with this book. It stayed with me for a long time. As I say, extremely atmospheric, but look, it's Alexander McCall Smith. How can you go wrong with him? He's a brilliant writer, but this is brilliant beyond anything else, I think. It's just beautiful. It's beautifully written and beautifully set in the landscape and in the time of the 1930s, the late 1930s. There's a calm, but then there's an urgency, an underlying urgency about in the story. But then there's this main story that it really prickles on your mind and in your heart, and it's a little bit wrenching in the gut. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I recommend it. It is, let me just give you the fun facts. It is by Polygon Books, which quite a few of Alexander McCall Smith's are. In fact, I think they all are. Perhaps. This was written or published in 2021 and, set in 1938. But really, a really good book. And it also highlights later on in the book the repercussions that your actions, even as a child, your actions can have, and how that reflects on you, and how that can really harm you later on as well. Not just the people at the time that you've harmed, but look, it's really good. I recommend you read it. Brilliant. And I think this one is, putting these on, off, these glasses. This one is 244 pages. 244 pages, 245, well worth 200 every page. It really is. And Elizabeth von Arnhem's is, let me see. Let me have a look. That's Enchanted August. What's that one? This one is 262 pages. Again, worth every page. Absolutely brilliant. I absolutely recommend these two. Please borrow them, buy them, but please read them if you haven't already. They're fantastic. And if you have read them, let me know. Put your comments in the comments below. I'd love to know what you think. So until our next, what's the next thing? Perhaps the next travel video. If you're interested in that, that will be on Saturday. But of course, in the mix of YouTube, eventually you'll just be able to pick out the video that you want. But in terms of current situation, the next video will be Saturday for our travel. And of course, we're trying to catch up with a few of our wonderful classics and books that have been read recently. So until that, the travel video, until if you're not interested in that or you miss it or what have you, our next book review. Happy reading. Let me know what you're reading at the moment. I'm really interested. And if I haven't read it, it may encourage me to read. And I have so many books to read at the moment. It's really wonderful. I mean, I say it's a problem. All readers say that, don't we? We all say it's a problem, but really it's not. We love it. We revel in it. It keeps us away from the madding crowds, doesn't it? So happy reading. Please do contact me and let me know what you're reading, or if you've enjoyed these books, or if you'd like to read them, and if you want to know a bit more about them. And I will see you next video. Happy reading. Eat good food. This is what I like to encourage you to do. I love good food and good quality food. Not rubbish, but good quality. Homemade preferably. But yeah, and a nice cup of coffee or a nice cup of tea, glass of wine in the evening, beautiful. Although I'm not encouraging drinking, but it doesn't hurt, does it? Okay, in moderation. Everything in moderation, whether you're eating chocolate or drinking wine or you're having a cup of coffee or tea, all in moderation, except reading. Reading's not something to be done in moderation. Anyway, until next time, enjoy, and I wish you health and happiness and good luck. Until then, bye for now.